The laugh heard across the stars. The message arrived without warning, projected across every satellite, frequency, and screen on Earth. The figure that appeared was tall, elegant, and utterly alien. Forearms folded behind its back, eyes glowing with an unnatural amber hue, and a smirk playing across its strange, elongated face. It spoke perfect English, but every word dripped with contempt. "People of Earth, I bring you greetings from the eternal Zorithian Empire. You are now under imperial domain. Kneel, surrender your governments, and you may keep your oceans and air." Laughter followed, not from humans, but from the hundreds of Zorithian nobles standing behind the speaker. They clapped, jeered, and chuckled as images of Earth cities were shown. Our aircraft, navies, and missile silos. To them, we were primitive, a backwater species with delusions of significance. The broadcast ended with one final insult. "We conquered stars before your kind discovered fire. Submit, and we may preserve you as a cultural curiosity." Within hours, the world erupted. Protests filled the streets, not against each other, but against the arrogance of these off-world conquerors. News channels debated whether the broadcast was real. Militaries went on high alert. The UN called an emergency session in Geneva, but for the first time in decades, the room was silent with unity, not division. A week later, they arrived. A single Zorithian dreadnought, nearly 10 kilometers long, entered orbit. It didn't cloak or hide. It didn't need to. Earth's combined defense grid couldn't scratch its hull. Shimmering like obsidian wrapped in starlight, it hovered above the planet like a god waiting to pass judgment. Their envoy descended in a gravity skiff, landing on the UN front lawn like royalty. Towering, gold-plated, and indifferent, it strutted into the chamber. Its translator flickered as it addressed the delegates. "Kneel, sign the surrender, or be turned to ash." No one stood. No one signed. But no one fired either. The envoy left with a satisfied hiss, confident the fear had taken root. It hadn't. Beneath the public silence, Earth's true answer was already forming. Deep beneath Cheyenne Mountain, a retired AI warfare system, Project Firebrand, was reactivated. Hidden labs in Japan, Germany, and Brazil reopened black site tech vaults. Elon Tech, Day One Systems, and SAI Quantum were quietly nationalized. The world, for the first time, moved with one mind. In bunkers and boardrooms, engineers whispered 3 words: "We fight back." Within a month, humanity began stitching together something terrifying, a hybrid war doctrine, combining Earth's unpredictable tactics with stolen alien data. Small teams hacked Zorithian communications. Orbital drones began tracking their dreadnoughts' engine signatures. Reverse-engineered fusion drives ignited in deep-sea shipyards. The world watched the Empire laugh. But Earth didn't laugh back. We learned. We planned. We built. And when the time came, we would burn their arrogance down with the fury of a united species. The spark in the shadows. The Zorithian Empire assumed Earth would break. Instead, Earth adapted. In the quiet void between Earth's fury and the Empire's arrogance, humanity did what it always had when cornered: evolved. It began with whispers between rival nations. Enemies became collaborators. Scientists who once competed now sat shoulder to shoulder. For the first time, the species wasn't divided by borders, language, or ideology. They were united by purpose. Project Firebrand expanded into something more than defense. It became Earth's war engine. Led by a joint task force of top engineers, tacticians, AI architects, and rogue physicists, humanity's brightest minds worked in secret across underground hubs. Fort Apex beneath Nevada, Site 12 in the Siberian wastes, and the abyssal hangars below the Mariana Trench. They worked not to survive. They worked to strike back. Using fragments of Zorithian tech stolen from skirmishes and scouting probes, some believed to have crashed decades earlier. Humanity advanced faster in 6 months than it had in 60 years. Plasma containment became portable. Graviton field generators were stabilized. Fusion weapons grew small enough to mount on strike suits. Most dangerous of all, a neural AI system called Ember was activated, capable of real-time enemy countermeasure prediction. Ember didn't sleep. It only learned. Meanwhile, Earth's best hackers infiltrated Zerithian network hubs using dark AI ciphers. What they uncovered was horrifying. The Empire wasn't just mocking Earth. It had destroyed hundreds of species before them. Entire civilizations erased. Cultural archives burned. Rebellions crushed beneath planetary bombardments. Children abducted to Enlightenment camps. Slavery, genocide, suppression. This wasn't arrogance. It was doctrine. Zerithians didn't conquer for resources. They conquered to feed their pride. That knowledge turned Earth's resistance into something deeper, personal. Operation Thronebreaker was born in the silence of that rage. A plan not to meet the Empire in open war, but to strike directly at its heart, Zereth Prime, the seat of their power. Not with fleets, but with precision. Earth couldn't win a war of attrition, but it could deliver a kill shot. A fleet of experimental ships, the Vanguard Line, was constructed in secret orbital docks above Luna and beneath Antarctic ice. Small, fast, and draped in chameleon shielding, these vessels carried the best humanity had to offer. Elite operators, neural-linked AIs, quantum spike warheads, and fury sharpened into strategy. Every soldier was a volunteer. Every mission terminal displayed the same phrase. They laughed. Now we answer. As Earth played the role of the silent, primitive world, its spear left orbit cloaked in darkness. The Empire's sensors never blinked. And so the spark leapt from Earth to the stars, not in desperation, but in defiance. A flame hidden in the void, racing straight for the thrones that once mocked its kind. The burning of Zereth Prime. Zereth Prime was a jewel of tyranny, a sprawling capital world of gleaming towers, imperial banners, and armies bred for dominance. Its citizens, a privileged caste of nobles and enforcers, believed themselves untouchable, insulated by layers of technology and centuries of conquest. But the quiet ripples from Earth's shadow fleet were about to become a storm. The Vanguard Line slipped through the Empire's frontier systems under the cloak of darkness and deception. Graviton lances hummed quietly, cutting through the silent void. EMBR's neural network guided the strike group with ruthless precision, avoiding patrols and jamming signals that could betray them. When they reached Zereth Prime's orbit, alarms blared across the Imperial Palace. But it was already too late. Earth's ships had hacked into the orbital defense grid minutes earlier, disabling shields and scrambling communications. Swarms of stealth drones descended like ghosts, planting electromagnetic pulse charges and neural disruptors on key nodes. Then the ground assault began. Elite human soldiers, clad in advanced exo-armor powered by graviton reactors, dropped from orbit in high-velocity pods. They moved like shadows through the throne district, disabling security drones and piercing command centers with surgical precision. The Zerithian nobles screamed orders, but their armies were confused, communications jammed, sensors blinded. The arrogance that had defined their reign faltered. The Emperor's throne chamber became a battlefield. Surrounded by his elite guards, the Emperor watched the world he ruled unravel. The ancient gold and obsidian of his throne room now echoed with the sound of plasma fire and clashing steel. A squad of humans breached the chamber. The Emperor sneered, drawing an energy blade. But human Captain Kara Singh, a warrior hardened by years of fighting for Earth's survival, met him with unyielding resolve. "This ends now," she said. The battle was brief, brutal, and decisive. The Emperor was captured, not killed, for all to see. Broadcast live across the Empire's shattered networks, his humiliation became the symbol of their downfall. As the news spread, enslaved species within the Empire rose up. Planets under imperial yoke erupted in rebellion, inspired by Earth's audacity. Entire sectors that once cowered now burned with newfound hope. Zereth Prime itself was engulfed in flames. The once mighty cityscapes crumbled under relentless human assault. Plasma torches melted steel spires. Neural bombs shattered fortress systems. The capital's glow faded into smoke and ash. The Imperial fleet scrambled to respond, but Earth's vanguard line held them at bay with advanced graviton lances and slipstream disruptors. For the first time in millennia, the Empire's heart was vulnerable, and humanity stood at its center, not as conquered prey, but as the harbingers of its fall. Now you kneel. The fall of Zareth Prime was only the beginning. The Empire, once thought invincible, now trembled on the edge of collapse. Its sprawling dominion, forged through millennia of conquest, was unraveling faster than anyone could have imagined. The remaining Imperial forces retreated to Velkerhold, a fortress world nestled deep within the Empire's core. It was their last refuge, a citadel of steel and shadow, surrounded by fleets desperate to stem the tide of rebellion. Humanity's response was relentless. Earth's fleets, now reinforced by freed species and insurgent allies, moved as one through the star lanes. Every strike was coordinated, every attack calculated by EMBER's ever-evolving intelligence. The battle for Velkerhold was not just a fight for territory. It was the final reckoning. From the bridge of the flagship Resolute, Captain Kara Singh watched the distant world grow larger on the view screen. Her voice was steady as she issued the command that echoed through the fleet. Prepare for orbital insertion. This is the moment we reclaim the galaxy. The skies above Velkerhold ignited with plasma fire and missile trails. Imperial warships, once proud and numerous, fell under coordinated volleys of graviton lances and quantum torpedoes. Shield generators flickered and failed. Fleet after fleet was torn apart, their screams silent in the void. On the surface, ground forces landed in waves. Soldiers clad in exo-armor advanced through the fortress's labyrinthine corridors. The last Emperor's loyalists fought desperately, but morale was shattered. They faced not just a human army, but an alliance of liberated worlds, united in vengeance and hope. The final throne chamber loomed ahead, a stark reminder of the Empire's cruelty and hubris. Captain Singh led the charge, her squad cutting through the last defenses. The ancient throne, once a symbol of unyielding power, was cracked and scorched. The banners of the Zarithian Empire lay torn beneath the boots of the victors. Kara knelt before the shattered seat and spoke softly, the words broadcast across every channel in the Empire. You laughed at Earth. You mocked our weakness. But now, we stand over your ashes. The galaxy is free. With the fall of Velkerhold, the Empire's reign was extinguished. In the days that followed, the Galactic Free Accord was formed, a coalition of once enslaved species and liberated worlds, with Earth as a founding member. Statues of old tyrants were toppled. Songs were sung of the species that refused to bow. Humanity's legacy was no longer that of a primitive planet mocked by the stars, but of a relentless force that shattered thrones and ignited freedom. As the sun rose over a new galaxy, Captain Kara Singh looked to the stars and whispered, "They laughed at Earth, and we burned their thrones until only silence remained.